The snowstorm had swallowed the valley whole when rancher Cade Harlow pushed open his barn door. The wind sliced across his face, but he froze mid-step. Curled in the hay, trembling like a dying bird, was a tiny little girl no older than 6. Snow dripped from her hair, her lips were blue, and her small arms hugged her chest as if fear itself was trying to rip her apart. Her eyes lifted, wide and wet, carrying a pain colder than the storm outside. Cade moved slowly, palms raised in calm surrender. "Hey now, sweetheart, what's your name?" he asked gently. The girl hiccuped, voice barely a whisper. "Lena." The barn fell silent except for the storm whining outside. Then Lena leaned forward and breathed the words that made Cade's blood run cold. "Sir, Mama didn't come home last night. She fell in the snow." Cade didn't hesitate. He wrapped his warm coat around the shivering child and lifted her into his arms. The second he stepped outside, the wind howled like a warning, but he forced his boots through the deep snow. Lena pointed with a shaky hand toward fading footprints half buried by the storm. Every step Cade took felt heavier, the cold biting harder, but he refused to let fear slow him. At last he saw her, a young mother lying half covered by snow, skin pale, breath shallow, eyelashes frosted white. He knelt beside her instantly. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he murmured. Her eyelids fluttered weakly and she managed only one broken plea. "My daughter." Cade tightened his hold around Lena. This woman had dragged herself through the storm just to keep her child alive. He placed his coat's remaining flap over the woman and lifted her as gently as possible. She weighed almost nothing, like the cold had carved her hollow. Lena pressed her tiny hands to her mother's cheek, crying silently. "I'm taking you both home," Cade said, voice firm and calm. The storm fought him with every step, but he held the woman and child as if the entire world depended on it. Inside the cabin, Cade lit the fire until warmth chased the shadows from every corner. He laid the mother near the hearth and wrapped Lena in blankets. Her small hands were red and swollen from the cold. "Hold your mama's hand," he told her. Lena nodded, crawling close with trembling determination. The sight made something inside Cade twist painfully. They had suffered far too much. The mother stirred at last, blinking at the firelight. Her voice cracked like shattered glass. Why did you help us?" Cade pulled a chair close. "Because your daughter didn't give up. She came for help even when she could barely stand." The woman's eyes softened with tears, her body still shaking. She clutched Lena's hand like it was the last thing she had left in the world. Lena lay against her mother's chest, crying into her torn dress. Her hair was still damp with melted snow. Cade heated water and gently placed the bowl beside them. "Warm her hands slowly," he said. Lena obediently dipped her palms into the warm water, eyes full of childlike hope and heartbreak. Watching them, Cade felt a fierce protective instinct rise inside him, one he hadn't felt in years. But as he covered the mother with blankets, he noticed bruises, deep, dark, and old. Not storm-made, human-made. Wrists marked by restraint, ribs marked by kicks, fear etched in every flinch. "Who did this to you?" Cade's voice changed, low, deadly, like a mountain cracking open. The mother's breath stuttered. She held Lena tighter. We were running." Lena turned her tear-streaked face toward Cade. "Bad men hurt Mama. They wanted to take me too. Mama grabbed me and we ran." Her little voice broke. Cade's jaw clenched, eyes darkening with a rage that warmed the room more than the fire. He rested his hand over hers, steady and certain. "No one is touching either of you again." He checked the door, then the windows, securing each latch with quiet intensity. The storm whistled outside, but inside the cabin, warmth and determination filled the air. "You're safe here," Cade said. "As long as I'm breathing, no one will get near you." And the way he said it made the mother finally close her eyes, not in fear, but in relief. Cade dragged a chair near the hearth and sat facing them. "Sleep. I'm right here." And he meant it. He didn't move for hours. The storm raged outside, snow piling high against the cabin walls, but Cade stayed awake the whole night like a silent guardian carved out of mountain stone. Every time Lena whimpered, he whispered gently, "You're okay, sweetheart." By dawn, the fire had softened to a warm glow. Lena slept curled against her mother's chest. For the first time, both looked peaceful. Cade's eyes softened as he watched them. Something in him, something he thought had died long ago, flickered back to life. They deserved more than survival. They deserved a chance at a life beyond fear. But peace shattered the moment Cade opened the cabin door. The storm had passed, yet the snow outside carried fresh footprints circling the cabin. Heavy, adult footsteps. Someone had been watching them all night. Someone who wasn't the storm. Cade's entire face changed. The men who hurt them had found the trail again. Cole pressed forward through the trees, the icy wind howling like an animal around them. The little girl clung to his coat, guiding him deeper into the storm. Every few steps, she whispered, "Mama, please wait." Her small voice cracked with fear. Cole tightened his grip on her hand, silently praying he wasn't already too late. Snow swallowed their tracks as the forest grew darker. At last, the girl pointed to a collapsed shape under a bent pine. Cole's breath hitched. A woman lay there, half buried in snow, arms wrapped around a tiny baby as if shielding it with the last of her strength. Her lips were blue, her body still. Cole dropped to his knees, brushing ice off her face. "Ma'am, stay with me," he murmured, fear biting deeper than the cold around him. The woman's eyes fluttered. Open. Barely. She tried to push the baby into Cole's hands. "Please, take them. Don't let them die." Her voice was only a trembling ghost. Cole shook his head fiercely. "No one is dying today. Not on my land." He lifted both mother and baby, feeling how light, how dangerously light they were. The girl clung to his side, crying silently. Cole stood, hoisting the woman in his arms and signaling the girl to stay close. The storm struck again, harder than before. But he pushed through it, step by brutal step. The woman's breath kept catching, weaker each moment. "Don't close your eyes," he urged her. "My ranch is close. You just hold on." Her head rested on his shoulder, her heartbeat faint against his coat. When the ranch lights finally appeared through the storm curtain, Cole almost sagged with relief. "We made it," he whispered. But the woman's head had gone limp. The little girl screamed, "Mama, wake up!" Cole kicked the door open with a force that shook the frame. Warmth rushed toward them, but he didn't stop. He headed straight for the fire, laying the woman on thick blankets. He handed the baby to the girl and knelt beside the mother, rubbing her frozen hands, her arms, anything to bring life back. "You're safe now," he kept whispering. The woman's breaths were shallow, quick, fading. He wrapped her in furs, heating stones near her sides. For a moment she looked at him with terrified, hopeful eyes, as if clinging to the idea that someone still cared. Cole checked the baby next, tiny, cold, barely crying. He wrapped the child inside his coat, securing it against his chest for warmth. "You're all right, little one," he murmured, voice softer than he'd used in years. Behind him, the girl crouched beside her mother, wiping melting snow from her cheeks, whispering, "Mama, he's helping. Please stay." The woman tried to speak, her voice a thin rasp. "I didn't mean to trespass. We were running." Cole leaned closer. "Save your strength. You're safe here." Tears formed at the edges of her eyes. "I didn't want them taken." Her words ended in a shiver. Cole's jaw tightened. Whatever she'd escaped from, he understood it was deadly. Outside, the storm pounded the walls, but inside the room, something softer filled the space, a fragile hope. Cole placed a steaming cup near her lips, helping her drink. The warmth returned a flicker of color to her face. Her hand trembled as she reached for her daughter, whispering a thank you that Cole wasn't sure was meant for him or for fate. He stood slowly, watching the two girls huddled beside their mother. A sharp protectiveness rose in him, unexpected, deep and fierce. Whoever had hurt them, whoever had left them to die in a storm, would answer for it. Cole grabbed another blanket, wrapping it over them. "No one's taking you from here," he said quietly, more to himself than to them. When the woman drifted into a fragile sleep, Cole checked the bulletins pinned on his wall. Wanted men, missing people, reports from neighboring towns. His eyes stopped on one. A ranch crew known for taking women and children as property, vanishing into the timber roots. Rage burned slow and hot in his chest. He understood now. This family had been running from those men. He returned to the hearth where the girl sat watching him. Her eyes were still scared, still shining, but she whispered, "Sir, will Mama live?" Cole crouched to meet her gaze. "I'll do everything I can. She's stronger than she looks." The girl nodded slowly, hugging her baby sibling close. In that moment, Cole realized these kids had been protecting each other for far too long. He prepared more hot stones, more blankets, more broth. Hour by hour the storm screamed outside, but inside the ranch, life fought stubbornly to stay. Eventually the woman stirred again, her voice barely audible. Why help us?" she whispered. Cole answered without hesitation, "Because no one should die out there alone. Not while I'm breathing." As dawn broke, pale and silver, the storm finally eased. Light slipped across the room, touching the woman's face. She blinked slowly, alive, exhausted, clinging to hope. Her daughter grabbed her hand and sobbed with relief. Cole exhaled, finally allowing himself to sit. The danger wasn't over, not with the men chasing them, but for the first time this family had a chance.